Today's episode is brought to you by me. I'm the letter P.
Movie season is upon us, everybody. Yes, Avengers is just around the corner. Toy Story 4 comes after that.
It's around a bigger corner.
Bigger corner, but, you know, we got Lion King and all this.
Playmobil movie. I'm super excited about that one.
Woo! Yeah.
So it's really necessary now just to be fully conscious that there are people that work at these theaters who you could really mess up their day if you have a bad attitude or you're just a dumb person. So to help prepare you for this upcoming movie season, I'm going to give you the 5 worstest ever guests or customers that have ever gone to a movie theater when I was working there in those 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like, don't do what these guys did.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah.
It's quite bad.
We've already did a movie theater tip episode of how to make, your movie theater experiences good. But this is now how to make other people's movie theater experiences good, not just about yourself.
Right, exactly. And specifically people that work there.
Yeah.
You could really make it bad for them. So one day, I got a call on my walkie-talkie. We need somebody out front to help clean something up. Okay. I'm thinking puke probably. Went outside, and it was blood of a child. A little, like he's probably 5 or 6. He was running around out front and slipped on the ice. That's a thing that happens outside when it's cold, and colder places than here. Slipped on the ice and hurt his nose, and he's like bleeding. There's blood everywhere. So they were like talking to him, and I went over and was like listening. I was also cleaning it up. I did the dirty work.
Did you say, put it on ice, kid?
Boo! No. They're trying to figure out, like, hey, where's your parents? Well, their parents were watching a different movie. They were watching SpongeBob, which is a short movie. The parents went to see 50 Shades of Grey, and that's a much longer movie. And so, I don't know what's worse, really. Just leave your little 6 or 7-year-old kid to go watch SpongeBob on their own while you go watch 50 Shades of Grey, or you could be the other parents who take their kids to watch 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know which is worse there, but...
probably the latter, maybe.
Maybe. But if you get your nose smashed, that would be worse, I think.
Yeah.
So not the kid, but the parents, who I never actually saw. Those were the worst. Similarly, there were other families who I would go into the movie and they're watching Annabelle or some scary demon doll movie. One of those.
Love those.
Yeah, one of those. And I'm like walking through, just like checking on the theater, making sure there's no shenaniganizing or tomfoolery. And there's a kid sitting in the front row, the bar seat, the good seat that you want, with his Buzz Lightyear, and he's just kind of like playing, and he's like looking around. He's not really interested into the movie because they're just talking. And then some creepy shadow flies by, and some noise happens, and it is really scary, and I'm scared in there, and the little kid, like, 3 or so, like, oh, what's that? Watching the movie now. Watching the movie. Which is not a good idea, guys. Don't bring your little kids to see horror movies. Most people would say don't bring your little kids at all. I think that's a little crazy. You can if you know your kids and they're good in movies. My kid's great in good movies. Don't bring them to stinking Annabelle. What are you going to tell them when you're done? Like, oh, don't worry. Dolls aren't real.
You want to go buy a doll?
Yeah. Dolls, they're not real. Demons, they're not real either. But guess what, you guys? They are real.
Yes, and that's exactly how you say it to your kid afterwards.
Yeah. So just don't do it. It's dumb, and you're going to traumatize them. I know it.
Stuff like Twilight Zone was enough to scar me as a kid.
Yeah, and that's not even scary that much.
I used to be scared.
Yeah. Just come up with a better option. Go watch a movie that everybody will like, or just leave your kids with a babysitter. There's really 2 better options, but that would require some intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can go opposite in the wrong way too, and you can be a grown-up that goes into a kid's movie that really shouldn't be there. For example, this one time, The Good Dinosaur was playing. It was in the middle of the day on like a Monday or a Tuesday. There was only 2 groups there. There was a mom and her kid in the back, and in the front there was there was two older guys, older girl, and a little kid, toddler boy, watching The Good Dinosaur up towards the front. And they were being real loud, like obnoxiously loud. Maybe they thought they were the only ones in there, but they weren't. So I went up to them and I was like, hey, you guys, you're being kind of loud. Can you just quiet it down a little bit so that these other people can enjoy their movie? And they're like, yeah. So I leave. Yeah. Well, then they didn't quiet down. I noticed that they were drinking in there, like full bottles of, I don't know what it was, drunkardness stuff. Alcoholic.
The drunkard juice.
Alcoholic alcohol. The alcoholic kinds. And you're not supposed to bring stuff in, but I would usually let it slide, except for if it's alcohol and you're being a jerk. So they were being real loud. You know the part in The Good Dinosaur where he's like hallucinating and it's weird already? He yells, "What the was that? I thought this was a kid's movie," real loud. And maybe it is a kid's movie and you shouldn't be cussing so loud inside of a kid's movie. I went down twice more and I said, "Hey, you guys are being real loud and I need you to quiet down." And every time I got even kind of close, they just like I was being quiet, you guys. And the girl that was there with them was like, "Shut up, you guys." And they didn't. And she's like, I'm trying. He's like, yeah, well, you're not trying hard enough. And then they're dropping their bottles and it's clanking on the ground. And like, you guys are pathetic. Day drinking in A Good Dinosaur. Just don't. So another time, there were these two guys watching Straight Outta Compton. And one of them was definitely drunk. The other guy kind of like composed himself a little better. The super drunk guy went out to go to the bathroom. So we didn't want to let him come back in. We told him like, hey, you are drunk and obnoxious to everybody in a nice way. You know, you say that in a nice way. And he's like, you gotta let me go back in. Like I gotta tell my friend we're leaving. And I was like, okay, well, he doesn't have to leave because he's being reasonable. You have to leave. You're not. Well, he's like, well, just tell him that we're leaving, okay? And I was like, all right, fine. I go back in and I said, hey, your friend's not coming back. He's not allowed back in here. He wants you to leave too. And he says, nah, I'm staying. So his friend is no longer his friend. He's staying to watch the movie. And his friend, the drunk one, the super drunk one, he had to get a cab and go home on his own. He left his friend. He said, no, I'm not going. And he couldn't go back in there to confront him and say, like, what are you doing? You leave me now. So he just had to leave. No longer friends.
That was an eye-opener to him.
Well, they're not friends anymore. I don't keep up with them, but I don't think they were friends too much longer after that. I could be wrong. Okay, last one also involves grown-ups acting like children. It was Star Wars 7, Force Awakens. A big deal for everyone involved in the movie and the movie theater. I was kind of a new manager. I hadn't been a manager for very long. I am just going down the hall, minding my business, ready to help fight crime and stuff. And this guy comes out, an older guy. He's older than our parents. Hey man, this guy over here wants to start a fight. And I laughed because I thought, of course you're joking. Nobody just says that. But he wasn't joking, guys. There was another older guy who was trying to start a fight. Good thing the second handsomest manager, my friend Patrick, came along at the same time and heard the commotion. And he's like, so what's going on, guys? And what he did to solve the problem was he separated them in the same theater. He said, you sit over here, opposite side of the theater, just like classic kindergarten. And everything was fine. And the movie hadn't started yet, by the way. This was before the movie started. I don't know what you expect, like, this teenager is going to help you solve your problem, I think is what they're thinking. An employee has to take care of this. But I had a beard and a tie. I think I wasn't quite a teenager anymore, so it was okay. I could handle it. And obviously I couldn't because my friend had to do it, so Patrick took care of it. So I don't know. Which of those five are the worst?
Well, I guess the guy cursing in Good Dinosaur and yelling or whatever he was doing, to me, is the worst. I mean, in your exact case,
yeah,
it wasn't as bad because it was like only two other people in the theater.
Sure.
But that behavior, out of anything that,
sure.
To me, that seems like, maybe he thought that, they didn't realize two more people came in after them, but
maybe.
Yeah. They're all pretty bad, though. I'll definitely say that. Like, I don't know.
It's just
people making poor choices.
Yeah, it's just you gotta be courteous and aware that there's other people besides you in the world. I think that's really just the main problem. And also being drunk. And also not realizing that having kids is a responsibility. But what do I know?
Recently, I met one of my favorite theater guests. It was an old lady sitting next to me, and she, just in the middle of the movie, just offered her Reese's Pieces. Like, want some? And I was like,
he said, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't play the modest game of like, oh, no, thanks.
No, it's
I was
okay.
like, yes, old lady, I want candy. Like, I was like, yeah. Like,
that's how you can be a nice theater guest.
Yeah.
Offer goodies.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to do that. Just offer.
As a young person, or wait till you're an old man to do it?
Can I do it now?
Is it weird? Is it weird? It's not as weird if you're an old lady, but you're not going to be an old lady, so should you try now?
Is it only weird depending on who I share my candy with?
I think
like,
so.
Not a kid.
Not a kid. Yeah, don't share it with a kid.
What about just like someone my own age?
It depends. Is the person pretty? I think that's how you go.
One time I drank a cup from a girl sitting next to me. I drank and I was like, that's not my Sprite, and I put it back. And I wasn't gonna say anything. I would have. I was like, well, why? If I say it, then I just
ruined her drink.
But it's.
But if you don't say it, then she will never know.
Right, and it's. But I realized I was a little bit sick. I was getting over a sickness, so I was like, hey. Just so you know, I accidentally drank that, and I'm actually a little bit sick. And she's like, oh, okay. And she didn't go and get another drink, and so I ruined it.
Ruined it. You were the worst guest for her.
I should have
gone out and bought her a drink.
Gone out and got her a drink. Like, I would do that now.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't do it then, but I would do that now. I'd be like, well, hey, what were you drinking? I'll go get you more.
That would be nice.
Or I'll get you new straw. Or, well, no, because my backwash is in there. So whatever, I'll dump it out. New straw, new everything. Just...
That'd have been nice. This could have been a totally different future if you'd have done that. Yeah. Think of all the kids you would have had by now.